As crazy as the title may sound, in this day and age we're so used to accepting budget Android phones come with themes and wallpaper apps sending you notifications out of nowhere. Even worse, during setup you are forced to install sponsored apps, looking at you Xiaomi, but here we have nothing. Let's get started! Selamat pagi! Good morning everyone, Kenneth here and welcome to my review of the Nothing Phone 2A. Another one of the series where my friend is super kind to let me review it for a full 2 weeks now. And boy, do I have a lot to talk about here. I'll try to cram as much as possible in as short as possible. But before we start, as always, everything said in this video is my own honest opinion. And do help me support these reviews by using the affiliate links in the description when you buy stuff, because I may get a small commission at no extra cost to you. So thank you so much for your support. With that said, let's get started with the unboxing and build quality, and I might repeat this a lot in the video, just I'm so used to Chinese phones giving you everything from chargers to phone cases. Here, there's literally just the phone itself, the pre-installed screen protector, and a transparent-ish USB-C to C cable that actually looks pretty cool. This is done to be environmentally friendly. In fact, most parts of the phone are made from recycled materials, which is crazy because these things do cost more money, so I always appreciate the move. But yeah, generally I recommend investing in something like this 65 watts Anker charger, which can fully utilize the 45 watts charging the phone is capable of, and it can charge most laptops at full speed too. I'll put the link in the description if you're interested. Now let's talk build quality. And if I'm honest with you, a lot of sub $300 phones are built so well today. I'm not too surprised here anymore, but I'm happy to say that Nothing puts incredible attention to detail. From the way the holes and buttons are in one line, we have the same bezel all around. Even the curves of the phone feel at home with the curves on the back design. And yes, let's talk about that back design, because this thing is such a head turner. There's a black color and the new special edition with some splash of colors, but there's something about this pure white color that makes it so clean and attractive. Immediately we can see that there's no wireless charging coil in the middle, but hear this. The circle around the camera is actually the NFC antenna, and then there's the Glyph interface around it. This time it's much smaller in the form of 3 LED bars, but it still does a lot of meaningful things, like showing countdowns in camera or timer. You can set different patterns to know who is calling, or persistently lights up when a VIP you set sends you a message. But you know what's my favorite? I can tap and hold the flashlight setting and use the Glyph as a flashlight instead. This light is much softer and nicer to use in a very dark bedroom. And yes, you can also use it when taking videos or photos to have that continuous fill light. Basically with this, I can put my screen down without missing anyone important, and there's no other phone that can do the same. So that's great and all, but I have to remind you that this is a budget phone. So the frame and the transparent back is made of plastic. They tried to find a material for the back to be scratch resistant, and so far I haven't seen any micro scratches yet. But the thing with Nothing phones is they're wide, as much as the iPhone Pro Max or Galaxy Ultra sizes, which means one-handed use is a bit of a challenge, especially with a case that's gonna get even bigger. And because the buttons are in the middle here, I find myself accidentally touching these buttons a lot, but I'm starting to nitpick here. Now moving on to the display side, this is par for the price. The 6.7-inch screen feels spacious. It's got Gorilla Glass 5, 700 nits typical brightness. It supports HDR up to 1300 nits on movies, and it's also got full HD resolution with variable refresh rate. Although in my observation, the 120 Hz is only truly used in the home screen and some whitelisted apps like settings, weather, Google app, because most others drop it down to 90 Hz. Video apps like Crunchyroll, YouTube Camera, or games, they use 60 Hz instead. I would assume here the 30 Hz is only used in the always on display to save battery. Now I can understand the 90 Hz saving some amount of battery life at little to negligible performance impact, but you can always force the display to run at 120 Hz. And speaking of battery life real quick, the 5000 mAh battery inside can definitely last more than a day for video and social media use. A good estimate is you charge every other day at noon, but I can definitely see it reaching to full 2 days endurance if you flip down the screen a lot and use the Glyph interface. Then with 45 watts charging charging, it's not too bad to top up. You get 50% in a touch over 20 minutes, but full charge is closer to an hour. Now, if you found this helpful so far, do subscribe and hit the thumbs up. I've got the Samsung and Moondrop to review among many other things. But with that said, let's talk about what probably surprised me the most, and that is the Android 14 based NothingOS 2.5. This is where the phone truly, and I mean truly, shines. I've said it at the start, but I'll say it again. For a budget phone that's got good specs, focuses on sustainability and design, it can also has clean and bloatware-free Android. That's something I've never thought possible. I mean, I was so surprised to see the default camera app here. When I tap this little thumbnail to see my shot, it directly links to Google Photos and not some third-party app instead. And same thing for calculator, calendar, browser, you get the deal. But most importantly, there's no third-party app store or security app that spams you with promo notifications, just nothing. Now, the Moondrop phone that I'm reviewing uses Android open source project, and you can see things like notification, control center, the settings app, the multitasking view, all look and feel the same. But Nothing made some meaningful improvements here. For example, the notification and control center are divided into 50-50 when used in landscape mode, where the stock one is just pulled to fill the screen. Moreover, one of my favorite things is easily the launcher. It's got a clean and monotone look, but of course there will be unsupported apps, so you can set it to apply only to home screen. And then talking about widgets, these are next level because you can put quick setting toggles like flashlight, Bluetooth, alarm, things like that directly on the homepage. You can also make regular apps big like the widgets, and I especially like how folders are more like a nest of apps that you can directly tap in, and not just square, you can make it a circle or a normal folder too. And these widgets can be applied to the lock screen as well, which then extends to the always on display. It's a very fresh original take, and I love it. Another thing that I also love is notification management. If I tap and hold a notification, immediately I can set it as an essential glyph or mute the channel. And I know it's basic Android stuff, but not all budget, especially Chinese manufacturer skins, actually do this. If I can nitpick on some things though, firstly is to delete icons, you still have to tap and hold each app one by one. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't find the toggle to turn auto brightness off unless I dig into the settings menu. Even just to adjust brightness or music or go down to settings, I still have to swipe the notification down twice. But what's more important to me is the pop-up view, which is different from most phones because you cannot hide them or resize it. It's quite unusual to tap in the app first, it then enlarges to half the phone size, and then you can interact with the app. When in the small thumbnail mode, it's just practically a moving window. Fortunately though, for YouTube Premium, have their own implementation of pop-up video, which behaves normally. You can just hide it away like this. You can resize it. I don't see the point of doing it the other way, but it is what it is. As a potential solution for this, you can do a split screen instead, but it really is not ideal because to change apps, you have to do the whole process again. And also the curved edges here of the apps waste so much space. Again, not everyone's gonna care, but actually the chip is strong enough to farm Honkai Star Rail while browsing without any significant lag. Which brings us to the good mid-range chip use here, the Dimensity 7200 Pro, which posted more than 700K on Antutu, making it faster than most others with Helio G99 or Dimensity 7020 with just 450K. On Geekbench 5, it's almost 1100 on single core and over 2500 on multi-core, and this means daily social media and browsing tasks are never a problem, as well as driving the 90 to 120 Hz refresh rate. No stutters whatsoever. Touching on gaming a little bit, lighter games like Mobile Legends on Super Ultra is never a problem. The phone doesn't get too hot thanks to the vapor chamber cooling, and compared to the other mid-ranges, this plays heavier games like Honkai Star Rail much better. On medium setting, we can finally touch 30 FPS in fights, although there will be frequent dips to the 25, but I still appreciate this improvement in the mid-range segment. Although for pure performance, the Poco F6 still gives you much more with its 8S Gen 3 processor, which I'll be reviewing next, so do subscribe and stay tuned. As for the other things like storage and RAM, I haven't found any problem keeping apps open thanks to the huge 12 GB of RAM that we see a lot at this price. Okay, that just reloaded, but it reloaded to this location. But then some may be concerned with the UFS 2.2 storage. Really, it's plenty fast. The 256 gigabytes model here got around 500 megabytes per second sequential read and write, which is not too far off from the Infinix Note 40 Pro Plus, and actually faster than the Poco M6 Pro, which only got 400 megabytes per second. Although to be honest, that's a little difference compared to the Poco F6 that can do 1 gigabyte per second instead. Now, some other things that come standard in this phone is very good linear motor. So when you're typing and do stuff, it gives you very nice haptic feedback, strong and very pinpoint. And also there's dual speakers here that actually sounds pretty nice. Let's listen to the little sound test now. Now finally, let's talk cameras. Now on paper, the Phone 2a looks pretty impressive. 50 megapixels on both ultra wide and the standard wide lens, and 32 megapixels on the front camera. But how does it actually perform? Well, let's talk while I show you the slideshow of pictures that I took here. I think for the asking price, it's a fair performer. I like that it doesn't have the dreaded beauty effect things you found in most Chinese phones. In particular, the front camera, I simply love it. The skin tones look natural, the details are very sharp, even though it crops slightly more, so the wide mode here is like normal on other phones, but the winner in quality is very clear. My impression is very similar with the ultra wide, which easily pulls ahead compared to the usual 8 megapixel sensors. It's got more detail, performs quite good in lower lighting conditions. Like this shot in comparison with Poco F6, I think you can see what we're paying for here. The main camera, on the other hand, is a bit more subjective in my opinion, because both the Poco F6 and the Infinix Note 40 here, basically direct competitors in terms of price, do take good pictures as well. But one thing I can say is nothing captures more raw and unedited look. Similar to the more neutral iPhones in comparison to the vivid Samsung, all these sample shots are with Ultra XDR mode on at all times. Just there's an additional HDR setting you can toggle on and off, and check out these couple shots for comparison. Generally, the HDR shots make the darker parts of this pine forest I went to brighter than it looks like in real life, but lights on the other hand look more defined and contained. To be honest, I'm not sure which one I like here, but now you know the difference. You can always pick which one you want to use. Oh, and also one thing you need to know is there is quite a lag when it comes to starting the camera like that and switching between the modes, but it's not like unusual. I'm not complaining over this because of the price, but then it's just when I take pictures like this, and then you see the picture, it's processing, and it takes quite a lot for more like complex pictures, sometimes up to like 5-10 seconds. So that's something you need to know, but I mean, you can just skip and let it process in the background. It's just a little bit annoying whenever you want to check to know if you want to take another shot. And as far as video is concerned, the Nothing Phone 2a is quite the performer for the price. It has good enough stabilization thanks to the combo of optical and electronic image stabilization. It can do up to 4K 30 FPS, which I will say it wrong in the video, and has HDR and action mode for extremely shaky shots. The front camera is just alright though, so let's check out the video sample right now and you let me know in the comments. Alright, let's do a little video test with the Nothing Phone 2a, and this is like I'm doing this while walking, so it's kind of like a vlogging style. What do you think of the video quality and also the sound quality? Let's switch over to the back of the camera right now. Alright, so here we are recording with the back camera at, I think it supports 4K 60 recording as well, but right now we are recording at full HD. But what do you think of the stabilization? Let me walk a little bit here, and I can see that the phone is definitely shaking. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video test. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and let's get back to it. So that's pretty much it for the review. I really appreciate the fact that this is a budget phone with no bloatware. I think that alone is worth the price. But let me ask you the $1,000,000 question. Will you get nothing over something? Just kidding. Please forgive the puns here. Let's just have a great discussion in the comments below. And also check out these two videos for my review of the Infinix Note 40 Pro Plus and the latest Poco are reviewed. Of course, all of them are great for the price. You just have to know what's your priority. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Kenneth, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.